Hello, everybody. Today, I wanted to tell you the story about how I got an internship with NPR right out of grad school. It was somewhat of a straightforward process, but there was one key element that definitely aided in my ability to even get an interview, and that was my cover letter. I had actually applied for the internship a year prior and I didn't get it. The position was for a remote photo editor. I had experience as a photographer and I was obviously on my way to getting my master's degree in photojournalism, but otherwise I didn't have all that much experience in the field. And so when I applied the first time, I went with the kind of basics of writing a cover letter. I think I probably went onto Google and wrote how to write a cover letter. I remember that there was this NPR article that was when you are applying to work at NPR, you should tell us a story. We are an organization that loves storytelling. The first time that I applied, I'm pretty sure I ignored that article because it sounded really hard. And so the next time that I applied, which was shortly after graduating in 2022, I wrote a cover letter that was telling the story of growing up in an immigrant family and how that experience aided in the way that I see storytelling and how I work as a photographer. Sort of my ethos as a photographer was heavily influenced by the fact that I grew up in this immigrant household. Going back and comparing it to the original cover letter I wrote, I was oh, no wonder they didn't hire me that first time. This is so incredibly boring. It was I am writing to express my interest in the 6-month photo editor position. And it was just not great. And I don't know, I think that's sort of traditional cover letter advice. And that probably works if you're trying to apply to something like a financial firm. But definitely in the world of journalism, I don't think that is the best strategy. And even thinking about later, a couple of years later, I applied to the Missouri Photo Workshop. And the Missouri Photo Workshop, if you're not familiar, is a somewhat competitive workshop in a small town in Missouri. The town changes every single year, and you have to apply to get in. You submit a portfolio and a cover letter. And I did the same thing when I wrote this cover letter. I took in the information of what this workshop was about, and I used the same tactic. I was very vulnerable in my cover letter, and I made sure to tell a story in a way that was really interesting and engaging, and also tying that into the way that that story has influenced the way that I work and how that kind of aligns with either Missouri Photo Workshop or NPR or whatever organization it is that I would be applying to. Lastly, there is also another thing that has been hugely beneficial in me getting opportunities as a photographer, and that is databases. If you are a minority in any sense, if you are a person of color, if you are a woman, if you are part of the LGBTQ plus community, there are databases that you can apply to. And basically, if you get accepted by something like Women Photograph, or I'm a part of Diversify Photo and the Authority Collective, then you get put into a database that photo editors can go and look at later and say, oh, I need a photographer in the state of Montana. They go look in one of these databases, they click on the state that you live in, and boom, there you go. You pop up. Before I ended up getting the interview for NPR, I was actually contacted by one of their photo editors because at the time, I don't think this is the case anymore, but at the time, I was the only photographer in Missoula listed on Diversify Photo. And there's different categories. I think I was in the emerging categories. And so they contacted me for an assignment. I remember I thought it was a joke. I was just out of school. I had basically no experience. I definitely didn't have any national publication experience. So she contacted me and hired me for this assignment. I don't think I did all that well on the assignment, but I took that as kind of a good sign that maybe I would be a good fit for this internship. Like maybe I would be able to have a lot to learn. That definitely aided in me being able to get an interview. The fact that they had hired me, the only reason that they ever found out who I was because they found me in one of these databases. Just putting yourself out there in a way that people can find you, that isn't just Instagram, isn't just your website, and highlights something that is unique about you. There's all sorts of databases that you can look up and apply to, and it gets your name out there and in front of people. Okay, that is all. Thank you for watching this video. I will be back with more somewhat photo-related content.